Welcome to the Personal Trainer Hustle. Personal Trainer Hustle. If you didn't know, you do now.
Welcome back to the Personal Trainer Hustle, you guys. Today we've got an interesting episode because one of you guys actually requested that I look over your Instagram account and do an episode about what things maybe I would suggest or things that I might change about how you are handling your social media account. So I gotta say, shout out to Diego, because that was very brave to say, hey man, why don't you just do an episode where you break down my page? So I'm going to read you guys the message that I got, and then we're going to jump into it. Obviously, I'm going to be talking about his Instagram account, but also just general ideas for all of us to think about, okay? Because these are things, hey, now that I am on Instagram and connecting with you guys, these are things that all of you guys may be making like what I would call mistakes in, okay? And I don't like to say mistakes because it's one person's opinion, right? Like it's just my way of thinking. I'm not an expert in certain areas, but I will say that from looking at people's social media accounts, when it comes to the fitness side and building a brand, a lot of these mistakes are very, very common because they have to do more with like marketing and branding and not the training. So stay tuned because we're going to go over a lot of different things and ideas, not just specific to this page, but just in general ideas and important things that you need to know. So let's get into the message. Diego said, you made a podcast episode based on my question, the how to get people to come to my garage gym episode. I just wanted to say thank you for that episode. I still haven't posted anything new, but I was wondering if you'd be interested in taking a look at my page and critiquing it for an episode like you mentioned in the episode. So I must have said that. I think my page has a lot going on, LOL. Some days it's motivating, some days it's my workouts, ads, and showcasing clients. I will say I am guilty of analysis paralysis in the sense that I get caught up on the direction I need/want to go when posting. LOL. Thank you, Sam. All right, Diego, you put it out there, so we're going to look over this page. Now, again, I'm going to keep it general because maybe not everybody's going to look at your page, and I'm not putting your page out there on like that, but let's get into some important things that I'm going to notice, and just general things that everybody's doing. So number one, all of this is not going to be in any particular order. There's a lot of different points I'm going to get to and make. But the first thing that I wrote down here at the top of my notes is make it about the client. Okay, so a lot of fitness trainers, a lot of coaches, one of the biggest issues that I think happens and is not talked about enough in the fitness industries is what I call making content for people that are not going to sign up with you. What does that mean? In personal training, there are millions, I would say, of fitness pages where people share their workouts, people share their fitness advice, and they're putting out content that other trainers follow. And so the issue here is that the other trainers are also trainers and they're just looking at your posts to get ideas, motivation. They think that your workouts are interesting, right? So you get a follower because they want your free content, but they're not necessarily somebody who is a client who's going to sign up. And a lot of coaches, we don't think about that, right? We just keep putting our workouts out there. We keep talking about the supplements that we take. And now we create a community where the community isn't clients. The community isn't people that actually want your product. The community is just people that are in the same page as you. And so when it comes to speaking to the client, when you post something, you have to learn to post things that matter to your potential client and not things that other coaches are going to understand, right? A lot of posts that I see, sometimes I think the only reason I understand what you're doing is because I'm a coach too. If I wasn't a coach, if I was just a random person looking at your page or a person just starting off looking for a coach, I actually wouldn't have enough understanding of fitness, of the language, of the movements, of the movement patterns. I wouldn't actually know what I'm looking at, right? It just looks like a cool workout to me if I'm not educated. And so this is one of those difficult things when you are a coach. sometimes it's hard to remember what somebody who isn't a coach actually needs to hear, see, and understand. And so the first thing that I say when I think about posting on social media is, can you find a way to get away from posting things that are for other people who are already in the industry, for other people that already understand fitness and fitness concepts, right? Can you find it in your mind, in your ideas? Can you find how to connect with people, and what do they need to see? What do they need to hear from you to be drawn to you and say, "Hey, this coach is actually helping me when I'm brand new." Right. So that's how you start to build a brand, right? You have to think about who your customer is. And that's just something that I see all the time, right? People post their workouts. Um, but this is what I'm going to ask you guys that just post your workouts on social media. When I watch you work out, what do I get out of it? Right. So I'm putting myself in your potential customer's shoes. When I watch you work out, right? You showed me how you squat, you showed me your routine. How does that benefit me at all? Right? So maybe I just think, oh, that's a cool workout. I'll try that at the gym, but it didn't really impact me, right? It was here 1 second, it's gone the next, and you guys put a lot of effort into putting your workout out there for a like, but it didn't impact me long term. It didn't give me something to think about. It didn't give me something to go and do on my own, right? It didn't change my life. It was just me watching you do a workout. So yeah, maybe it motivates me, right? Maybe you're an influencer and it motivates me to some degree, and you can build a brand around that. But this is another lesson that's hidden in here. When you guys are starting off, you have to have the humility to understand that you're just starting off, right? Do not copy what people that have been doing it for 10 years, 20 years, who are not personal trainers, they're influencers, right? And they try to build their business in a different way. Doing what they do to get followers isn't what you need to be doing to get real life clients. These are two different things. And me personally, I have no real expertise in the influencer space. I don't care about that thing, because for me, what I want is to have somebody in my community go online, find my gym, call my gym, come in and actually pay for one-on-one training, right? I don't care if anybody knows that happened. What I care about is that it actually happened, that somebody in my community said, "Hey, I need a personal trainer. I want to come to your gym and sign up for personal training," right? I am dealing in the real face-to-face world. And when I talk to you guys about social media, when I talk to you guys about business, when I talk to you guys about personal training, it's coming from that place. What I want you guys to understand is we're trying to get real clients here. And real clients aren't just a bunch of people that like and follow your page. Real clients have to hear something slightly different. And that's what we're going to talk about today. All right. So that's just something that I notice on a lot of pages, and even Diego's page. There's a lot of posts here that are about, just general workouts. But again, the emphasis is on yourself. Are you thinking through the lens of the customer, and what could they potentially, or what could they possibly be getting from watching you work out, right? So that's just a question I have to ask. I'm going to have a lot of questions here. Um, let's get into some stuff that I just noticed right away from the page. Okay, so in this page, um, there is a .com. Now the .com is handled by an outside company. What does that mean? Is there's a company that creates a series of questions for you to answer in order to book a consultation, is what I believe, because I haven't gone through the whole process here, Diego. But what I did do is I looked around and I saw there was a .com, so I wanted to go to your website. When I clicked on it, what I realized is that this was actually a link to some type of software that you have set up in order to ask people a series of questions, I guess, in a sense, to try to figure out like what the best plan is for them. Okay. So when I clicked on it, and a lot of you guys may have done this or seen this, that's why we're talking about it, right? We're talking about it so that all of us can learn from this. Sometimes instead of having a website, a lot of trainers use a built for you software or app. And in this case, this one, when I click on it, it asks me what my general goals are. When I click on it, it moves to another page and it asks me, you know, how long have I been working out? Do I have any injuries? my type of diet, right? Every time I clicked on something, it went to the next page and it asked me more, right? So it was bringing me down this funnel. Um, but now let me give you guys some things to think about when you do this, right? This is another principle in marketing, in business, and that is that you want to create as little steps possible between somebody finding out about you and somebody coming in and seeing with you. Now, there are going to be steps. Sometimes it's 2 steps, sometimes it's 3, sometimes it's 5. But all you need to know is that the more steps that you have between me clicking on something and me coming in, the more friction you create, the more likely it is that at any one of those steps, I'm going to back out, right? Because time is of the essence here, right? And so the longer you guys make it, this is just a general rule in business, you guys. You guys can learn this and apply it to many different things. The more things you make me do to come in, the more chances you're giving me to back out of it. Now, this idea could work if you have experience, if you actually have questions that are pulling me further into wanting this. But from what I did in this one, in this case, the questions were questions that you're probably going to ask me anyway. And here's the thing. The questions that I'm answering are questions that they are not really going to change anything because you're going to meet with me anyway. You're going to weigh me anyway. You're going to ask me my age anyway. So making me answer these questions before I come in isn't really changing anything other than adding an extra step. And it's not adding any curiosity or value to me. Now, if it was a series of questions that could pull me in where I could see, like, I wonder what this is very important. I've never been asked this before. I'm very curious about what happens next, right? If you could create curiosity, then maybe it would work, but that would require you to have a lot more knowledge and awareness in marketing and psychology, which most people just starting off do not have that level of psychology and marketing understanding to create a questionnaire, right? So when you use general questionnaires like this, you're going to have general run-of-the-mill questions that are asked, which are not really great. There is another place for stuff like this, but right now is not the place because I'm still trying to get to know you, which is another part of this questionnaire that I wanted to talk about. When you're making me click on this questionnaire in order to book a consultation or in order to meet with you or get a workout plan, and you're making me go through all these steps, the issue here is that I don't actually know you yet. So that's another issue. Besides the friction issue, there's also the issue that sometimes we're asking for a sale or we're asking for some type of commitment without having given somebody a reason to make that commitment, right? So Diego, why should I answer 5, 6, 7 questions to meet with you when I'm not even 100% sure that I want to do this, right? I'm not a huge fan yet. I don't know what kind of results you get yet, right? I don't know what your rates are yet. I don't know where your gym is yet. I don't know anything. And so now you're asking me to make a commitment to you, but I don't feel that committed yet. We're jumping the gun. And so that's another thing that we need to learn in personal training, in business, and in sales is that first you have to get the trust of that person. So how do you get the trust? By having good content on your Instagram, right? The more you talk about things that really matter to you, the more you talk about things and you express yourself with your real personality, the more people are going to connect with you, right? And that's what you want for people to want and come to and meet with you. When you're always, and this is nothing to do with your page, Diego, I'm just talking in general, a lot of trainers, we don't open up and be ourselves, right? We just post ourselves working out, but never actually talking about things that matter to us. So how could people connect and trust us, right? I can't trust you if I don't know you. And how do I know you? You have to have a lot of conversations with me and be sincere. And so one of the things that I would have you think about when you post is this post sincere? Is this post really what I believe? Is this post is somebody going to listen to this post and say, yeah, totally. Like I understand that. I connect with that. I want to be part of that movement, right? I want to connect with that type of thinking. I want that type of coaching. That's what matters to me, right? Can you over time with every post talk about something that matters to that person to increase the trust? right? Are you giving them real information? Are you giving them good information, right? Can they go out there and prove that the information that you gave them is true? The more you do that, the more people are going to trust you, right? It's similar to what has happened with the podcast. I always use it as an example so you guys can see, and I could put a mirror that to put you in that consumer headspace, right? Why is it that you are following? Why is it that you are sending in questions, right? Because I'm doing my best to just be myself and be honest. And sometimes I make mistakes when I talk. Sometimes maybe my advice isn't perfect. Sometimes I go back and I correct myself. But what you do know is that I'm just being sincere, right? When I talk, I don't have a script, right? I wouldn't be able to talk this fast and this long if everything was pre-written and perfect, right? But what happens, as imperfect as it is, you know that it's truthful. As imperfect as it is, as many mistakes as I may make, those mistakes usually people are very forgiving of because at least they know that I am who I am. And so when you guys are doing that, you have to be who you are, And so I'm going on and on to say that you have to build trust before you ask people to come in for a consultation, right? And the way to build trust is to give people something of value. And so my advice would be for any of you guys that have this questionnaire on your website or a questionnaire to start working with you, I would say you're better off having a website, even if it's a free website, a website where you actually get to talk about yourself, why you started training, who are your type of clients, what benefits do they get from training with you, right? If I went to your Instagram and I liked it and I thought, oh man, maybe I could work out with this person, I'm going to click to learn more about you. I'm not going to click to make a commitment right there. I'm going to click to learn more. And what do I want to know? I want to know where you are. I want to know how much it costs. I want to know, can I work out with you if I'm a certain age? Can I work out with you if I have certain injuries? Can I work out with you if I have certain goals? Right. So you gotta, and again, this is an episode for another day. Like the website has to, again, answer the questions that that person is going to have in their mind. So when you build a website, that is your presentation. That is getting to know you, right? One of the best tools that I ever adapted, and I learned this from Tai Lopez. If you guys remember Tai Lopez, this was years ago when he was first blowing up. He did this live Q&A thing and it completely changed my life. And now I'm passing on the message to you. Maybe it'll change yours. But he said, make a video where you're introducing yourself. Record yourself and put it at the top of the page and just answer some simple questions, right? The who, what, when, where, how about you. And that is going to create way more connection, way more trust because they're going to hear you and see you and know that you're real, know who they're talking to instead of this like clicking around this page and not really connecting with a human being, right? Sales is connecting, personal training is connecting. And whether you believe it or not right now, there are people that if they heard how you speak, how you talk, how you communicate, how you think about training, they would connect with you, right? You know who would probably connect with you is people who you used to be like. Not all the time, right? Like for me, my message is more for sometimes older people or what I call like the forgotten people, right? And I'm not going to get into my marketing and what I do, but for a lot of you guys, especially for Diego, as I'm looking at your page here, dude, I would say, I notice a couple of things about your page here. Number one, your gym is dark, right? It's not like yellow and green. It's black and it's gray. And so and I see that you are, doing a sling review. You're talking about gummies, you're talking about products and supplements. And so what that gives me is the vibe that you work out with guys. Okay. I'm just going to be flat out honest with you. Based on what I see, if I'm being honest, I'm going to make an assumption. Okay. Now I may be wrong. And if I'm wrong, then that's good for you to hear because that's what you need to see it through, right? I am somebody who has not trained with you. I know nothing about your brand right now. So I'm going to give you my honest thoughts when I see it. When I see your gym, when I see you working out, when I see you talking about supplements, what I assume is that I have to be very big and buff to work out with you. Like that's the vibe, right? So if I was a 60-year-old woman, I don't know if I would vibe with this, right? I'm just being honest because I'm not taking pills that have a skull on the bottle, right? I am not lifting so much weight that I am using a sling. I don't even know what that means if I'm a 60-year-old woman. If I have a back injury, I'm thinking, dude, you guys lift really heavy weights. I don't know if I can do that right now. And so again, I'm telling you because those are the questions that are going to come up. You have to think through the consumer. So if I'm a customer, I'm going to think, I cannot lift that heavy. I don't know what this equipment is, and I don't want to be taking stuff with skulls on it, depending on who the customer is. Now, when I look at this, and if I'm 25 and I'm trying to get buff and I want to, be I want to know what to take to get bigger. I want to lift heavy weights. I want to learn about equipment. I'm really interested in changing my body. If I'm a young man, this is probably the perfect vibe for me, right? I'm excited about this. Now, again, I may be intimidated, and that's one of those things a lot of you guys need to understand this about your pages and understand this about the psychology of the customer. A lot of customers don't understand that you're not going to make them lift the weights that you're showing in the video, but they don't know that. So you have to talk to the customer. If you don't communicate that to them, either through the post or the website, they're going to be left thinking like, oh, this is cool. I wish I was as big as him. I don't know if I can train with him though. He seems kind of intense, right? So you have to see it through the customer. So for me, I would almost assume, and I don't know if this is what you want to do, because again, you can get all sorts of customers. I'm not saying that this is your one and only customer, but to me, based on the look of this page, I would think that this is a page for younger males trying to get bigger. And if that's true, the next question is going to be, why does a young male want to get buff? Why do they want muscles? Why do they want bigger? Is it attitude? Is it confidence? Is it dating? Is it, um, ego? I don't know. What is it, right? They want to build confidence. Maybe they feel like they're not seen. Maybe they feel like they're not heard. Um, Maybe they want to change their style. They want to reinvent themselves, right? These are questions that are for you to think about. What does this young guy need? And maybe you can connect with them because just like myself, just like any person that has worked out, and any guy that has worked out, we weren't always muscular, dude. And so why don't we connect to that? Why don't we talk about how you started? Why don't you be more vulnerable and always talk about when you started, what you thought and what you did, what you believed and what was wrong, what you did and what was right, what you would suggest a new person start? What would you suggest I start off with weights at home when I'm new, right? What help me out? Right? I'm a young guy starting off. I used to be like you. What would you want it to have heard and seen from somebody that now is where you're at back when you weren't there, right? What is it that you were missing? And this is a question for all of you guys building your brands, right? What was it that you wanted? What was it that you needed back when you started? And can you be now that you're on the other side, now that you're the coach, can you be that for the next person? And you're going to find a lot more people connect to that when you think about it like that, right? Be who your old self needed back then. And that's going to point a lot of you guys in the right direction when you're thinking about your brand. Um, so just making sure we're here. Um, One last little piece of advice before I talk about the last thing I needed to talk about is maybe because there's one thing that Diego does really well that I would suggest a lot of you guys do, and that is when you guys talk in a video. Number one, I suggest you guys speak in your videos. Okay, that's very good because people get to know you. They feel like they know you, they connect with you, they know how you think, they know how you talk, and they can see you as a friend. So number one, speaking in your videos is very good. But another thing that a lot of people do is you add text to your video. Okay. So sometimes Instagram allows you to just click the closed captioning button on Instagram. So it'll allow you, Instagram itself will, create captions for your video that pop up so that you could do it that way. There's also apps that do it. A simple popular app is CapCut. I'm not sponsored by them. They have no idea I'm talking about them, but I just use them and it's really cool. You guys will see when I'm talking, there's words that pop out and the words are matching what I'm saying. Why is that important? Because sometimes we can't see we can't turn our audio on, right? Maybe people are looking at it in the lunchroom during a break, or maybe they're at home, but people are watching TV, so they're not playing their phone loud. So the only way to communicate what you're saying is you need to give yourself a chance if the audio is off for people to read. And sometimes even when people start reading what you're talking about, they'll click the audio because it's interesting. So now they actually want to hear what you have to say. Why am I saying this? Because on this page, there was some videos that I didn't even realize you were talking in until I turned my audio on. So I was scrolling through and I thought, oh, he's just working out. He's just working out. He's just working out. And then one time, and then I clicked on one and there was talking and I went back and I was like, oh, he's been talking on all of these videos. He's been giving, his thoughts, his advice, what he did, what he thought, right? But because I didn't see that there was words, I thought all of them were just you working out. And so it's a powerful tool to use text and talk. So you give yourself two opportunities for people to understand and hear and see your message. So that's just a little piece of advice that I would give you there. Okay. Let's get into, I wanted to make I guess five quick points here. So I'm going to give you 5 quick points, just more specific about your post and how to kind of navigate your post. So number one, let's talk about where. Where are you as a coach, Diego, and any other trainer listening? When you are a personal trainer, you are a personal trainer to the people in your community first and foremost. We're not talking about online training right now because I personally believe that that is the next version of your training. If you even want to get there, it has a lot of complications, it has a lot of drawbacks, and a lot of people are drawn into online training because of the time benefits. And I understand that, and a lot of trainers do well, but we're talking about you guys building your first client base, your first set of customers. Okay. So that's going to happen in your community, people that you can reach in your community, maybe friends of friends, maybe people in church, people at the park, whatever, people at the local stairs. There are people that are in your community that you can get to or that they can get to you. So let's keep it real. Your first customers are going to be near you. So where are you? When I'm scrolling, I need to know where you are. It's going to help me. Remember what I said earlier in the episode, make less friction, right? Do not make me go and see if you are near me or not. If I have to do that, I'm probably not going to do it. And that's one of those things, again, that we forget. When you are a local brand, be a local brand, right? So I'm going to ask you a question. When you are going to buy Chinese food, Mexican food, when you crave some tacos, right? All right, Taco Tuesday today, let's say. You're craving tacos. What are you going to do? Are you going to go and follow and look for the page for the taco stand that is in a different country that you love because of the way they do it? No, you follow that taco brand because they make some interesting, funny tacos. But the tacos you're going to eat tonight, today, are the tacos down the street. And so you need to understand that about being a local brand, a local business. You guys want followers from all over the world, but the people that are going to come and buy your training are within a mile, 2 miles, 3 miles of where you are. Just like if you got hungry, just like when you buy groceries, right? Do you guys drive 2 hours away to buy groceries? No, you go to your local grocery shop, right? So everything that happens when you want gas, do you drive 10 miles to the gas station? No, you go to the local gas station. And so I'm telling you guys, you are the local coach. So let people know because a lot of you guys don't have a storefront, right? So if you don't have a storefront, then you have to come out and say it. This is where I train. This is the park that I meet. This is the cross street. This is the town. This is the zip code. This is the city. However you want to do it, you have to let people know and be a brand in your community. So Diego, where are you? Right? I'm going back to Diego because he's the one that asked the question, but this I'm asking to all of you guys. Where are you? I'm looking at your page. I don't know where you are. I don't know what city you live in. I don't know what state you live in. I don't know what country you live in. So help me out here so that I know when I look, I can go, oh man, I could even meet this guy. I didn't realize he was my neighbor, right? So that's going to help you get local customers. See yourself as a local brand, just like a grocery store, just like a gas station, just like a donut shop. People near you are going to come to you, but they need to know you that you're there. So a couple of ways to do that, put it in your post, put it in your bio, or you can go as far, and this is what I did with my gym. I went as far as putting it in my actual name on Instagram, right? So it's Logic Fitness underscore Culver City, which is the city that we're in. That helps people when they see an ad, when they see that part, they already know it's nearby. So I don't have to take an extra step to use more words, use more time, use more resources to tell them where I'm at because it's in the name, right? So I did it that way, but find a way that you feel comfortable so that people know where you're at and build your brand around that city or that town. So that's just a piece of advice. Number two, what are the benefits? Why should I follow you? Usually there's three categories that I have heard used in this area, right? So what are the benefits? Number one, I either need to follow you to get educated, I need to follow you to be motivated, or I need to follow you to be entertained. Okay. Now, for me, the last one is probably the least important and least favorable when you're trying to be a personal trainer, but it is the most popular one, right? Entertainment. Do you want to be an entertainer or do you want to be a trainer, right? So if you want to be a trainer, I would say don't worry too much about being an entertainer. If you're an entertainer, you're going to get a lot of people following you for that entertainment, right? You're going to get a lot of people that follow you because it's always fun or funny or interesting or creative, but they might not hire you to be a coach. Now, this may work super long term where you build a brand for yourself and people call you to come and do workouts and call you to come and do workshops and things like that. It could work long term. But again, I want you to have a client now. And so doing the entertainment route is a very long, risky business. Motivation can be good. But again, right, just because I'm motivated doesn't mean I'm motivated to work with you. So usually as a trainer, having some level of education and talking in your way to your people and educating them about what you think is important in your community is probably going to be the best bet. So what is the benefit? You got to ask yourself, what is the benefit of me following you? What is the benefit of me listening to you? Right. So again, that's just a question that you need to answer. And this is for every post. This is for your entire brand, right? Where are you and what are the benefits to following you to me as a potential customer, not as a trainer, right? Because as a trainer, I'm going to go, oh, that's a cool way to squat. I'm going to do that with my clients. Oh, I like what he did with his shoulder rehab there. I'm going to go do that with my clients. A lot of you guys are making content that other trainers are benefiting from, but not customers, not potential customers. So, what are the benefits to your potential customer? Number three, who is your potential customer? So this is a little bit deeper, but I'm going to try to get through it quickly here. Um, some questions to ask yourself. Okay, so this is a marketing tool that a lot of people use. It took me a while to really understand and use this, right? I was trying to, be a smartass, and I realized this is actually the easiest, best way to do it. When you're going to market, you have to build a character, right? You have to build this person. You can even name them. So I'm going to give you a very advanced way of marketing yourself and of putting your content together. You need to create an avatar. Okay. So how do you create an avatar? Because this is a quick lesson. I'm going to give you something to think about. And I want you, Diego, and everybody else listening to really go and write this down and laminate it at some point, right? Like this is very important because this is going to help you understand who your customer is. Okay. Who is your customer? For this example, I'm going to call your customer Jim, right? No, let's say John because Jim sounds like the actual gym where you work out. So we're going to say John. So who is John, Diego? And how old is John? Let's say. Okay, so John is between 20 and 30 or 25 and 35. What is John struggling with, right? What's his big struggle that fitness can help? More likely than not, if John is a straight young male, one of his struggles is probably being confident around women, or men, whatever, but around somebody who he wants to be attractive to, right? John probably feels like he wants to make more money as well. He wants to live a certain life. Muscles maybe help him make more money, right? Because they're going to give him confidence. He's going to feel like the man. He's trying to make money, but money isn't enough. He wants to have muscles. He wants to, wear different shirts, wear something that's more tighter fitting. So what is he struggling with, right? Not just the physical, but if you can go deeper, it's even better, right? What is he struggling with? Maybe he's struggling with his mental health due to his lack of confidence, right? He's struggling with his mental health due to the fact that maybe he's not making friends, maybe he feels lonely. So will this fitness, will building muscles help John fix that? All right. Now it's starting to help you get into John's head. So you're going to ask yourself, what is John struggling with physically, mentally, and emotionally? What is John struggling with? What is he going through? What is his life like? Right? What is somebody in those shoes? Maybe John, he's never had muscles, he's never dated, he's never been seen, he's never been heard, he's never been confident. What's he feeling, John? What does he want to know? Right? Maybe he goes to the gym for a year and never sees any progress. He's wanting to give up. Um, what would help John? Right? Then that now this is where you come in. Once you have figured out who he is, how old he is, how much money he makes, right? You start to create this like fake person in your mind, but they reflect a certain group of the population. And so when you do that, now it's time for you to ask yourself, what does John need from me? What does he need to hear today? And now when you turn on your phone, you have a couple of notes and you say, you know what? For that John out there, I'm going to talk about this. Listen, when you start off, it's hard, right? It's a struggle. It takes a while. And boom, now you have something of substance to say because you know what he's going through. It's no different, you guys, than what we're doing here with the podcast. Every time I sit here and talk, I'm talking to who I used to be, the struggles I used to have, right? The person that's just starting off, that is figuring out how to get clients, that is struggling to get clients, that is struggling to get their business off the ground, that they don't know exactly what I'm supposed to say or do, how long it's supposed to take, what's realistic for me, right? So again, I'm using all the same rules with you guys as new trainers that you should use with your potential customers as new customers. It's all the same thing. You have to talk to the person where they are and what they're struggling with and what they're going through, and that's going to help you. But how do you know that? If every video you don't know if you're talking to an 80-year-old woman, a 20-year-old man, because an 80-year-old woman, let's do this. Let's talk now about Jane, who is 75 and dealing with osteoporosis. What does she struggle with? She's struggling with now deteriorating health, the fear of falling, right? The fear of training at the gym and injuring herself and now ending up in the hospital with a life-threatening injury because when you're that old, the world is different. So you see how, based on who I'm talking to, the message would have to change. A page for John who's 25 trying to get muscles and girls is different than a page for Jane who's 75 who is just trying to have a healthier, longer life. Two different messages, two different pages, two different, scenarios for people. So this is important. You have to have an avatar. And why I wanted to talk about this is because anything that I can talk about your page can be fixed by you knowing who you're talking to every time you make a post. So it doesn't matter what you want to do, you're still going to have your own style. Okay, I'm going to post a workout video of my workout today. What does John need to know about my workout for him to understand what I'm talking about? For him to be motivated by what I'm doing, right? What does he need to hear? I'm going to talk about a supplement. What does John need to hear? He's 25. He's just starting off. What does he need to hear about the supplement? Not just me talking about the supplement, but what does he need to hear about supplementations, right? He's not even at the level where he's taking this stuff. He just needs to learn protein intake. So, you know what? Let me talk about protein intake more and different ways to get protein and the importance of protein, because that's the level at which John is right now. That's the importance of creating a profile first. If you guys have the person or type of people that you want to connect with and their struggles, everything becomes clearer. The reason why we don't know what to say, we don't know what to do, we don't know what to talk about, we don't know what advice to give, we don't know, anything is because we don't know who we're talking to. So it's very important for you to start thinking about, and it doesn't have to be age or sex or anything. It could be people that are afraid to go to the gym, people who have anxiety, people who are missing limbs, right? It, People who are missing an arm can be young or old, tall or short, whatever. They could be different. So again, it's just a matter of you figuring out, who am I really going to talk to here? Who do I want to be of benefit to? And now I start creating content speaking specifically to people who have these issues and these struggles. It's not about age or a person. It's about the struggle that that person's going through and how you can be a resource to that struggling individual, and you can build them up. With every post, you give them just 1% of information to help them be better, because that's another thing. You can't give them everything on Instagram posts, but just keep it to 1%. 1% better you can make them by them watching this post. That's going to have more impact on them. All right. So, and then the last thing, of course, that I would add is once you do all this, it's going to make your content better. And the fifth thing I wrote is just how do I contact you? Okay, I know it's super basic, especially coming off of something so deep, but how do I contact you is another very basic thing. Is your phone number on the screen? Is your phone number on the post? How do I contact you? Do you want me to go to the website and set up a consultation? Again, how do I contact you? Tell me how to contact you because again, that's another step that I don't know how to take. Do you just want me to send you a DM? Is there something you want me to say in the DM, right? I don't know what to say. Hey, Diego, love your page. Was wondering what your rates are. Was wondering what city you're in. Can you come to LA? Do you do online? You see, like people don't even know what to ask because we missed the mark from the beginning, right? We didn't say what the website is. We didn't introduce ourselves. We don't have the rates on the website. We don't have the locations on the website. We don't have who we are and who we train on the website. Because we're missing a lot of information, people have a lot of questions still. It makes things complicated. That's why a lot of people are not getting the hits that they want, is because I still don't know and trust you yet, right? You need to do a better job. And so, how do I contact you is another easy way. And it's a way to motivate someone at the end of the video because they might be excited at that moment. And you say, hey, if you want to work out with me, if you feel like this message is exactly where you're at, why don't you go ahead and send me a DM right now and just say, hey, saw your post, need help, right? Send that to me and I'm going to get back to you with all the help that you need, right? But again, you just got to give them exactly what to do because they might not know what to do. And I'm about to do it with you guys as I close the episode. You guys, make sure you're following me on my Instagram at personaltrainerhustle.com. You guys can send me DMs there. Some of these questions have come in through DMs. So for those of you guys new to the podcast that haven't followed, you guys can follow me on Instagram. Send me a DM. You can just say hi. I try to get back to everybody within a reasonable time. A lot of you guys can send in questions just like today that get turned into an episode. And of course, you guys can go to personaltrainerhustle.com to keep up with what I'm doing. And also to send questions that way. If you guys don't have an Instagram or don't care about that stuff, you can still go to personaltrainerhustle.com. There is a form there on the main page where you can send in your questions because again, the Personal Trainer Hustle podcast is to get you guys information. So when you guys send questions in, it helps us answer new things that other trainers are going through as well. Okay, so there's nothing you're going through that other trainers have not gone through. And Diego, when you asked to talk about your page and do a deeper dive, I know I didn't go super deep just on yours because I needed to be general for everybody to get information. But when you guys do stuff like that, just know that you're not the only one, right? A lot of you guys are going to get a lot of benefit from one person, in my opinion, being brave enough to say, hey, I'm going to put my page out there, go ahead, do your thing. So, Diego, I give you a lot of credit because that's not easy to do, to say, hey, you can critique my page. It'll help me out. And you're humble enough to do that. So I hope you got something from today's episode. I want to see you do great things. I want to see all of you guys do well. So take something from today's episode. Send me a question at any point. We'll turn it into an episode. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.